Thanks very much, Ken Warrington, and welcome everybody to the Sam McKee Memorial Broadcast Set. It's time to climb in the Sulky, and my guest tonight is Tyler Miller. That Tyler Miller from Team Orange Crush. Tyler, thanks so much for taking a few minutes out of your night to be with us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, let's talk a little bit first and foremost before we get into the obvious stuff. Today, racing at Freehold was canceled. The cold conditions obviously played a big factor in that because the travel wasn't a problem. Does it get too cold to actually race harness horses, in your opinion?
I don't think it gets too cold, but it's more or less the track surface needs to be safe and eligible to race on to have the best health of the horse.
So what happens to a track surface when it gets overly cold?
It kind of hardens up and kind of turns into concrete, and it just is harder to keep a horse sound when they're raced on such a hard track.
So what's the difference between a track like Freehold and a track like the Meadowlands?
Just more the track surface. They both do a great job, and the track surface, I think, is just a little bit different.
All right, so when the phone call comes that there was no racing today at Freehold, was it like a school day? You're like, yeah, we don't have to work today? Or you're like, oh, shoot, I'm not going to make any money today?
A little bit of both. I love to race, and that's what I'm trying to build a career out of. But at the same time, it's kind of like a kid in the candy store, like you got a snow day at school.
All right, you were born into the game. As your dad, Andy, is one of the best drivers in the sport, and your mom, Julie, one of the best trainers. What is your earliest memory of harness racing?
Probably just running around the Meadowlands and Balmoral Park, where my family was originally from in Illinois, running around those two racetracks, just watching racing and trying to get in the winner's circle as most as I can.
So your mom and dad, they relocated from Illinois, and your dad was racing in Maywood and Balmoral and Sportsman's Park, I suspect at the time. So you remember living in Illinois before coming here?
Yeah, it's a great place, and it's a shame that it's went down so bad.
Yeah, no, it is too bad because the Illinois racing was great. Of course, they're still racing some dates at Hawthorne, and certainly I miss Maywood Park more than anything else. What a great racetrack that was.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best halves in the country.
All right, how old were you when you started to help your parents in the barn?
It was probably freshman year of high school. Probably I would help here and there, but really full time in the barn on Saturdays and in the summer, more or less when I got into high school.
All right, so 14, 15 years old, right around then. Is that when you started jogging horses actually for your dad?
Yeah. Right around that time is when I started jogging more full time and doing more training and stuff like that.
All right, now your mom told me after I congratulated her after one of your wins how much you really love this game. What are the things about harness racing that Tyler Miller loves most?
I really just love to go fast. It's nothing better than having a good horse and just feeling them accelerate and get up to win a race.
Last year during the course of the Meadowlands meeting, it's not like you only drove horses, for your mom. You had 3 wins for the Miller barn, and you won quite a few more races. In fact, 26 in all at the Meadowlands. So 15 different trainers saw fit to put you on horses who were good enough to win. Does that make you feel good?
Yeah, you always try to take advantage of every opportunity you can, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but you just go out there and try your best.
All right, now let's take a look at something I put together called No I in Team Orange Crush, and certainly there are a couple of horses in the barn who merit an awful lot of headlines, if you will. First and foremost, let's talk about the great trotter from last year, the 3-year-old French Wine. How good is this horse?
Yeah, he loves to race and just loves to be out there and compete against fellow horses.
So, French Wine, how heartbreaking was it when Scotty Zeron come up the inside to beat you in the Kentucky Futurity?
You obviously want to win, but we were just grateful to still be second and get a good chunk of it.
Now, what about Max Contract? This was a Breeders' Crown winner. This is a serious horse.
Yeah, she is a great mare. She tries real hard and is wicked fast and has always given it her best effort.
So, unlike some of the younger guys who have made an impact in the Meadowlands, there you see son of Andy and Julie, campaign French Wine, and of course the Breeders' Crown victory with Max Contract. Like I said, unlike some of the younger guys who have made an impact in the Meadowlands driver colony of late, instead of waiting for some of the bigger names to go on vacation, you've been here all year long. Why not race somewhere else where you might drive more power on a consistent basis?
Because the Meadowlands is the mecca of harness racing, and you want to be here and just to win at the Meadowlands is winning like nowhere else before, and no matter if it's one drive or full card, I'd love to be here.
So, yeah, you don't mind when you get a little bit of work, which is only maybe 2 or 3 drives a night.
Yeah, because you're still racing at the Meadowlands, and the history here is just outstanding that you just love to be a part of it.
All right, let's talk about your 2023. And our second graphic is something I called 2023, the first of many good seasons. Now, you won a career-high 188 races, 26 of those here at the Meadowlands, and another 74 at Freehold Raceway, where you finished 4th in the dash win standings. You earned a career best 1.5 million, and as I said, finishing 14th in the Meadowlands driver standings. When you're talking about names like Gingras and Tetrick and Miller and McCarthy, that's a pretty nice accomplishment.
Yeah, you know, just being out there and being with Hall of Fame guys and the caliber of drivers here, you always pick something up every race.
All right, let's run the Tyler Miller highlight reel. Let's turn the clock back to November the 3rd, the 13th race of the Meadowlands, the Trackmaster Series final, and a horse by the name of Strawberry Fields, who loves to gobble up ground late.
Yeah, she loved to close, and it was great. She kind of lagged a little bit in the last turn, and halfway down the stretch, she would find her best stride and really kick into gear and be the fastest at the wire.
Now, I talked to you about this race shortly after it was over. I gave you a call, and I thought that you would let She's Alive Wire get too far in front of you, but you said no, Dave. I still felt very confident through the stretch.
Yeah, down the stretch, I felt very confident. She, like I said, she puts her best foot forward halfway down the lane and really kicked in the gear right there at the wire.
All right, now another winner that you had from late last season on December the 22nd, race 10, was Silent Crossing, who really looks good here, winning at the Big M in impressive fashion.
Yeah, such a nice horse to drive, and I think that night I got a perfect 2-hole trip and popped out and got up for the win.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the Silent Crossing. You know, you see the horse here going very well through the stretch and stopping the teletimer in 152 flat. That was at the very tough non-winners of 12,500 for mares. Tonight, you find yourself leaving from post position 5 in the 7th race. Tell us about what you're thinking about in terms of hoping for a trip.
Yeah, you know, maybe with the 5-hole gives me options and trying to feel out what happens behind the gate, and you know, she win here this level 2 back, and it's a little bit tougher tonight, but if she brings her A game, I think she can be right there in the mix.
Is it something that drivers are conscious of here at the Meadowlands, that post positions 5 and 6 historically are far and above better than the rest of the post positions?
I think here, because it gives you the most amount of options. Like the 10-hole, you kind of have 2 options, and the rail kind of you only have 2 options too. So the mid-pack posts really give you the most amount of options for a race.
All right, so Silent Crossing certainly has a shot in tonight's 7th race. Let's take a look at one more roll-in from December the 23rd. This is Lovin' on You, and this was an absolutely explosion inside the 8th pole to get a victory.
Yeah, you could say he loves the close, and Edwin does a great job with his horses and always brings them ready to compete.
Now, Lovin' on You, here's the win. Sandwiched around that win were 2 very good second-place finishes. Lovin' on You is going to start out as the favorite tonight, and I suspect at post time you'll be the favorite with this horse leaving from post 7. What do you see for tonight?
You know, on the program, obviously he doesn't have much gate speed, so hopefully we can get a nice cover trip and hopefully be charging at the wire again.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse who definitely likes to do his best racing from off the pace. Do you prefer to race from off the pace, or do you prefer to race closer to the front end?
I guess I kind of just feel out whatever the horse feels is the right thing to do in that situation. Maybe more towards the front end here, just because the speed holds up more. But like you say, I just kind of feel out the horse and see where they go.
All right, one last question. Where do you see Tyler Miller in 10 years?
Hopefully to be that Grand Circuit driver and driving a lot of nice horses and taking advantage of any opportunity I can.
Well, given the trajectory of your career thus far, I don't think there's anybody who'll question that will be the result. Tyler Miller, thanks so very much for spending a few minutes with us tonight in the Sulky.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, now it's time for Tyler to get to work. He's going to drive the favorite in the first race, in fact. But we're going to have Mike Carter jump in that seat right after this break. We'll talk about tonight's featured action right after this.